Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's episode is all about Chanel's brand new collection Libre 2018. I have purchased quite a few things from the collection, not everything, but I'll go through what I've purchased. So if you're interested in seeing swatches of all these things, I'm also going to be doing some comparison swatches with the highlighter that is part of this collection with previous Chanel highlighters. I'm also going to use this opportunity to do a demo, obviously, of all this stuff, but I want to go ahead and use some of the Chanel brushes that were so kindly sent to me from a counter manager of a Chanel counter over in California. So if you're interested in any of these products, then just keep on watching. Chanel just recently launched their holiday collection, Collection Libre 2018, on their website, I want to say last week. And when I saw it pop up, I immediately ordered the pieces that interested me. So why don't I run through what I purchased, just in case you're interested in something that I didn't get. You can sign off immediately. So I purchased the highlighter. Very excited. This is the Le Lion de Chanel. I purchased all four of the single eyeshadows that look like this, that have like the little lion's head. So I purchased all four of those. I also purchased the Ombre Premier shadow that's part of this collection. It's called Rose Lame. And then I also purchased both of the lip glosses that are part of this collection. So there's a lip palette that I didn't get, and there are also some lipsticks that I did not purchase. But I think that's it. I think I purchased basically everything else, and everything in this collection is limited edition, just so you know. So what I'm going to do is talk about each product and then apply it to my face. I'm trying to figure out how to apply all five of these different eyeshadows, the four singles and the Ombre Premier. I think what I may do is do 2 colors on each eye. And then go about the rest of my day looking like that. I will look totally insane, but what can you do? This is all for science. So first, let's start with the highlighter. So this is the highlighter. It is called, again, the Le Lion de Chanel. It is an incredibly warm highlighter. It is has like a copper kind of tone to it. It is much warmer than any of the other highlighters that I have from Chanel. So I just wanted to do some comparison swatches for you. So my first comparison swatch is with the Lion highlighters that came out, I believe, last holidays. Has it been that long already? Yeah, I think maybe last holidays. So the first one is Or Blanc. And this is just immediately incredibly different from this year's Lion highlighter. This one is very white. It's very crystally. The finish and the formula, at least to my touch, is exactly the same. So it has that very interesting, I think kind of like a baked gelée formula. It's just really soft and smooth to the touch, but there's a sheerness to it when you apply it to the skin. They're very similar actually to the Charlotte Tilbury Bar of Gold highlighters. So that one is Or Blanc. Again, obviously very, very different. Next, I'm going to compare it to the other Lion highlighter, which is Or Rose. And I thought that these could possibly be a little bit more similar, but they're not. The Or Rose is obviously much, much lighter, and it's much pinkier and rosier in tone. Next, I'm comparing it to highlighters that are in the Chanel's regular line. So this is the highlighting powder in Ivory Gold. And this shade and this formula is a little bit different. This definitely has a bit more micro glitters in there, and the tone is obviously much lighter than this year's Lion highlighter. Next, we have another highlighting powder from their regular line, but this is in the shade Rosy Gold, and this one is a little bit deeper, and I want to say this one is probably the closest to this year's highlighter that I have in my collection in color, not in formula. This one definitely has more micro glitters in there. And then next we have the Camellia de Chanel, and this has a very similar formula to the Lion highlighter, but the tone, again, is very, very different. It's very white, it's very light. And as much as I like this highlighter, it does have quite a bit of micro glitters in there, which is not my favorite. And then finally, we have probably my favorite highlighter from Chanel. This is the Plissé Lumière de Chanel. And this, I think, is a very, very similar formula to the Lion highlighter. Again, the tone is incredibly different, much, much lighter. But I find this highlighter to look very wet on the skin. It's a little bit more opaque than the Lion formula, even though I feel like they appear and they feel very similar in the pan. All right, so let's apply the highlighter to my cheek. I have two brush options from Chanel. I have their powder brush and I have the contour brush. Both of these probably wouldn't be brushes that I would use for highlighter, but I did want to utilize these brushes that my friend was so kind enough to send to me. So let's use one on each cheek and just see how they work. So I'm going to start with the contour brush. I'm going to go into the highlighter and pick up plenty of product. Let's knock some of that off. And I'm going to brush this kind of far back on my cheekbone here. I have a blemish right here, and it is definitely accentuating that little bump right there. I don't know if you guys can see that. So there's the highlight on the cheek. It looks really, really wet on my face. I think it looks more wet on my face than it does swatched. That is very pretty. I think this tone actually, as dark as it is, because it's kind of sheer, I think I can kind of pull it off. I don't know, you guys let me know, but I think it looks kind of nice. I don't have any blush on, I just put bronzer on, so maybe that's helping too, because I feel like with a blush that's like, you know, there to kind of brighten up your face, that this would maybe look very, very dark next to that. For this cheek, let's go ahead and use the powder brush. The powder brush doesn't seem to be picking up as much product as the contour brush, but that's probably because of the egg shape on top. Well, as expected, the application with the powder brush is much lighter than the contour brush. I like this highlight a lot more. I mean, I knew I was going to like the finish, but I like the tone of this highlight a lot more actually applied to my face than I did swatch. When I swatched it, I was like, wow, that could be like bronzer for me. But I think it looks much nicer on my skin. All right, so next let's jump into the eyeshadows. I'm so excited for these single eyeshadows. They basically took the highlighter formula and just miniaturized them into these eyeshadows. They are amazing. They're absolutely stunning. So let me go ahead and show you close-ups of each shadow. So the first one is Electrum Lame. And this is just the most amazing, glorious, like white gold. It is so, so beautiful on the skin. Because the formula is, I think, pretty much identical to the highlighter, I think you could probably use this one as a highlighter if you have a fair skin tone. And in fact, I want to give that a shot right now. I'm going to take a different brush though, because this pan is so small. I'm going to take my Sonia G Sculpt 3 brush and just going to put this into this eyeshadow here. Maybe brush that right on top. Wow, that is a very, very bold highlight. If that's your thing, if you have a fair skin tone, I would just get this. It's like a highlight and shadow in one. So there are definitely more micro glitters in this eyeshadow than there are in the highlights. So if you're not into that for a highlight, you probably won't want to use this as a highlighter. But on the eyelids, it's very beautiful. So that's Electrum Lame. Next up, we have the Couvre Lame, and this is the one that is a bit more copper. And you can see that it has, again, the same kind of formula, the same kind of finish as the Electrum Lame. It has little itty bits of micro glitters in there. It's just stunning. This is such a beautiful, beautiful metallic shade. If you're into coppers, warm tones, just gorgeous. And then next we have Vert Lame, and this has a green kind of antique gold finish to it. So I feel like the base of this is a very, very deep, deep black and green color. And then there are just some like yellow gold micro glitters in there. But beautiful, beautiful shadow. And then last but not least, we have Noir Lame, and this is different from all of them because there are no micro glitters in here. This is like a satin finish black. It feels in swatches much more like their new matte shadows in their quads. That creaminess, I think I was talking about it in the Clair Obscure quad. It sort of has that kind of feel to it. It's just like a creamy, creamy matte, and it's so creamy that it's not matte anymore. It's like the cream in the shadow gives off its own reflectiveness. So that's what I feel like is going on in this shadow. And then they also came out with an ombre premiere for this collection. It's called Rose Lame, and this is so beautiful. This has like a pinky gold kind of like shift to it. It's just really, really pretty. You can see in the swatch here that it's just stunning. It's just stunning. It has like a light goldness to it. It's not too yellow. It's not too warm. And then it has that like rose shift to it, which gives it just like the hint of peachiness to it. I don't even want to call it pink. It's more of a peachy tone to it. So really, really beautiful. I can't wait to try that. And so what I did want to do was use these 4 shadows, but in different parts of my face. I don't know how I can incorporate the Ombre Premier in this look. So I think I'll just start with the powder shadows and then kind of see what happens and see if we can kind of, I don't know, add it on top. But I think what I want to do is use the Electrum Lame and the Noir Lame together and then use basically the green and the bronze together. So let's do this. Let's get ready to look really, really crazy. So I have a few eyeshadow brush options. I have the ones that are double-ended. These are the travel ones. And then I have like a single Chanel brush. So I think I'm going to start with, which looks the fluffiest? I think I'm going to start with the Blender Shader brush, and I'm going to use the blender side. And I'm going to go into this Electrum Lame. And I'm just going to sweep this onto the inner portion of my lid. Oh my God, that's beautiful. That is so beautiful. It really looks like just gold foil. Wow, that is shiny. Okay, I'm gonna go into the Noir Lame now, and I'm going to use, is this the brush I wanna use? Actually, let me try this one. I'm gonna try the eyeshadow. It just says eyeshadow on here, the eyeshadow brush. And I'm gonna go right into the pan here, and I'm going to gently place this on the outer corner, outer V portion of my lid and blend that into the Electrum Lame color. This is blending like a dream. That to me is like a great, great holiday party look. And I don't think I've experienced much fallout with this Electrum Lame color. I'm surprised because of those micro glitters in there. I want to take a liner brush and use this as liner on this eye. Unfortunately, I don't have any from Chanel. So I'm going to use my Esom T5 brush, and this is just like a flat liner brush, and I'm going to go into Noir Lame. Those shades are incredible. So let's move to the other 2 shades, which I feel like will probably be incredible too. So I'm going to use the Couvre Lame, the copper one, on the inner portion of my lid, and then I'll use the Vert Lame on the outer corner of my lid. So I'll basically do the same thing, just with 2 different colors. So I'm going to try this Blender Concealer brush from Chanel. I'm going to use the blender side. This brush is okay. It's a little prickly. It performs really well. I think it laid down the shadow really nicely, but it's not very soft. I am so in love with these shadows. And last but not least, I think this was the color I was most excited for. This is that Vert Lame. And I'm going to go back and use this Chanel eyeshadow brush, but I'm going to wipe off any of the noir color I had on there. I feel like I need to amp up the Noir Lame on this side. Hold on. I feel like even though the colors are different, at least they kind of look a little bit closer. Let me blend this out a little bit. So I'm going to do the same thing with the Vert Lame color with the eyeliner brush. I'm going to line my upper and lower lash lines. All right, so there are all 4 shadows on my eyes for you. I don't think I can squeeze this Rose Lame in anywhere because I don't think I can go out in public with this eyeshadow. I'm not even going to bother kind of finishing up my eye look. This is really just to demonstrate how these shadows look on the lids for you guys. As we know, swatches don't tell the whole story, so I really wanted to do this for you. And I hope this has been helpful, but let's move on to the lip glosses. So I purchased both of the limited edition lip glosses. One is called, oh, they never print the names on here. So one is 808 and one is 812. I think this one is called Flaming Lips, and this one is called Liquid Bronze. And I was so excited to jump into the products, I didn't even show you the packaging. So the packaging is pretty standard, except the CCs in here are like a rose gold. And then the boxes for the highlighter and the single shadows have like a gold finish over here. But that's it. That's how they've kind of made this packaging a little bit more special. So for the lip glosses, I don't think this formula is any different. I really like Chanel lip glosses, and here are some swatches of both of them. So the liquid bronze is a very kind of cool toned metallic shade. And they say liquid bronze, but it's not that orangey either. Bronze I feel like has a tinge of orange. This one is definitely more of like a taupe. It's almost like a metal taupe color. And then there's Flaming Lips, which is super bright, super bright. I mean, holiday red color. And this does have reflect in there as well. The reflect is golden. So in certain lights, this red will look a little bit orangey because of that gold tinge in there. So I'm just gonna put this straight on. So there is liquid bronze. It actually ends up being fairly natural looking on the lips. It just gives your lips like a little plumpness, a little bit of like a metallic sheen, but nothing too crazy. I think it's really pretty. And I wonder if they created this to kind of layer over some of their lipsticks, which I didn't purchase, which are part of the collection. All right, here goes Flaming Lips. Wow. So this is probably the most pigmented lip gloss I have ever put on. This is like the same coverage as a lipstick. It's like fully opaque. All right, so that is it for this video. I am so happy with all of the things that I purchased. This was basically like a second impressions, and I feel like they just get better and better every time I use them. These eyeshadows are amazing. I'm so glad that they decided to kind of translate that highlighter formula into eyeshadows. They're just stunning, as you can see. So let me know if you have any questions down below in the comments section. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe down below if you haven't already. I'll see you in my next